Hi everybody, welcome back to English for You. I'm Pat.
And I'm Mike.
And we're on day 2 of our article about Macau. So yesterday we talked about what Macau is and a bit of its history. Macau is a special administrative region, or SAR, of China, so it belongs to China. But it's close to Hong Kong. You can get there by boat very quickly. But what does being an SAR mean?
Well, Hong Kong, like Macau, are SARs, these territories that are part of China, but they also have a certain amount of autonomy and freedom. They have their own leader, their own governments, their own ability to make their own laws and things like that. So, in many ways, people in Hong Kong and Macau still have more liberties, more freedoms than people in mainland China. For example, I think in Hong Kong and Macau, you could look at Facebook and YouTube and things like that. In China, that would be very difficult to do. So that's just one simple example of how they're a little bit different. This is because Macau used to be a Portuguese territory and was owned by Portugal for around 400 years. Like Hong Kong was a British territory owned by Britain for around 200 or 300 years or something like that. But like Hong Kong, Macau was returned to China recently. Macau was back in 1999. I think Hong Kong was 97.
Yeah.
I think just a couple of years before. So now they're both back with China, but they do have a bit of their own freedom.
Now, Macau is pretty small. It's about 1/10 of the size of Taipei City, but it's got quite a big population for that space. So it's very urban. There's not a lot of countryside and parks and farms. It's all kind of city and harbour, really. And this makes it a crowded little area. However, there is a lot to do, see and eat there. Let's read on.
Reading.
Macau. Fun facts about China's other special territory. A common symbol you'll see in Macau is the Barcelos rooster. The story behind it is that once people believed that a man in Portugal had stolen some silver. He said he was innocent and that a dead rooster would crow to prove it. And sure enough, as he was about to be hanged for his crime, the rooster crowed. Today, the Barcelos rooster stands for justice. If you prefer chicken that you can eat, check out African chicken. It's Macau's national dish. Its presence in Macau comes from retired Portuguese soldiers. They picked up the dish during their time in Africa and served it in cafes. Locals fell in love with the African chicken upon trying it. Over time, it grew into the delicious dish that's served in Macau today. It includes potatoes, vegetables, peanut butter, and coconut milk. If chickens aren't your thing, perhaps you'd enjoy something more extreme. At Sky Park Macau Tower, there is a bungee jump that's 233 meters high. That puts it in the Guinness World Records book for the highest commercial bungee jump from a building.
All right, let's get to the article today. It says a common symbol you'll see in Macau is the Barcelos rooster. Yeah, you'll see a rooster symbol, pictures of it, logos of it, statues possibly even of it, all over Macau. What is a rooster? A rooster is a boy chicken. A rooster is the one that goes cock-a-doodle-doo 4 o'clock in the morning and wakes you up. Roosters usually have more colorful feathers than chickens do. Chickens are often white or brown, whereas roosters can be black or green or blue or orange, all sorts of fancy colors. And roosters can also, if you're ever on a farm, since they're the big boy chicken, they can be a little aggressive. If you see a chicken running at you with its wings spread and it's trying to make itself look scary, that could be the big guy in the farm, the rooster or the big male chicken. Here's an example sentence for you. The English football team, Tottenham Hotspur, has a rooster as its symbol.
Yeah,
that's
on,
right.
it's on the badge.
Shirt. Yeah,
cockerel is another word.
Cockerel, yeah.
For the same kind of animal. So why is this rooster, this boy chicken, all over Macau? Well, the article says the story behind it is that once people believed that a man in Portugal had stolen some silver.
Okay.
Of course, Portugal owned Macau for a long time, so a lot of connections between the cultures, and they thought, hey, you stole some silver, you thief.
Okay, so this man was in trouble. He was being accused of a crime and could end up in jail. But the man was protesting. He said no. He said he was innocent. He said, I didn't do it. I didn't steal the money. He said he was innocent and that a dead rooster would crow to prove it. Interesting. So something almost impossible will happen. But hey, if that happens, that will show you that I didn't do it. Okay, well, that's an interesting way to prove that you are innocent. Let's talk about this word. Innocent is an adjective we use when talking about people who did or did not do a crime or something bad. If you did something bad and you can prove it, then you would say that if someone does something bad and you can prove it, you would say that that person is guilty. They did it. We have pictures of them. We have fingerprints. We have evidence. They're going to jail, that kind of thing. But if you did not do it, you are innocent. Maybe you weren't even near where the crime happened. Well, then it's easy to show that you are innocent. Or maybe someone made a mistake, they said you did it, but then something comes out later that shows that no, I didn't do it. It's impossible. I am totally innocent. I have no blame for this crime or this bad action or this accident or whatever it was. It wasn't me. I'm innocent. For example, as the police put handcuffs on him, the man kept saying, but I'm innocent. Yeah, that's what they all say. So this man's story was that he didn't take the silver, and he will show that he's innocent, that he didn't do it, by making a dead rooster crow. Okay.
So crow here is not the black bird, that's crow as a noun. Crow as a verb is basically to make that famous rooster noise that they make early in the morning, that kind of sound. But
that was very good, by the way. Yeah.
A dead rooster? How's that gonna crow?
Yeah, it's like making a dead dog bark. Something like that. Well, this seems very strange. I think the man should just get a good lawyer. I think that's probably his...
He could use that stolen silver.
That's true. Wait, hang on. And sure enough, the article says, and sure enough, as he was about to be hanged for his crime, the rooster crowed.
Wow.
The dead rooster decided to sing as the man had the rope around his neck and they were about to kill him for being guilty of this crime, but clearly he was innocent because, as he predicted, or sure enough, this rooster did actually crow. This dead rooster did actually crow. Yeah, we said sure enough because this is sort of like as expected, as predicted, as I told you would happen, it then happened. You know, if I say, oh, we're going to have the party at 8 o'clock, but John will probably get there at 9 because he's always late. And sure enough, John shows up at 9:30 or something like that. Just kind of like I said would happen.
Right. Another note from that sentence, you'll see us use the past tense of the verb hang as hanged with the ed. We use that form when we're talking about actually killing somebody with a rope. If it's putting a coat on a hook or on the back of a chair,
or a picture on a wall.
Yeah, we use hung, H-U-N-G. So there are two different past tense forms depending on what the action is and the meaning of the verb. So the man was set free, he was innocent, and so today the Barcelos rooster stands for justice. Makes sense, right? They were going to hang him for being innocent, and the rooster crowed, the dead one. So yeah, the rooster is a symbol of justice.
For him?
For him, it made sure he didn't get hanged.
Not for me, though, but maybe I gotta find a dead rooster to crow and keep it around next time I'm accused of a crime. But let's keep talking about chickens of a different kind, not the kind that can save your life and get you out of legal trouble. How about the kind that you can eat? These are the kind that I like. If you prefer chicken that you can eat, check out African chicken. It's Macau's national dish. So follow this with me. Macau is in Asia. The people who settled it are from Portugal, which is in Europe. But the national dish of Macau is called African chicken.
Yes. Believe it or not, there's a story.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Okay, let's...
Wait, does it involve a dead rooster?
Fortunately not.
Good. Carry on.
All right, the story goes, its presence in Macau comes from retired Portuguese soldiers.
Soldiers like chicken?
Yes.
Soldiers like Africa.
Yeah, and Portuguese soldiers. Of course, Portugal owned Macau.
True.
There's more to the story.
Okay.
But let's start by explaining the word presents. When we talk about presents in this way, we're not talking about the nice things you get at Christmas. No, this is spelt differently. P-R-E-S-E-N-C-E. Your presence. It is the state of being somewhere. Okay? Your presence is needed in school if you're... So that's why the children would be present or not present at school. Okay? Is my presence needed at the meeting? No. Your presence is not needed. You don't need to come. You don't need to be there. So the presence of this chicken in Macau is basically saying, why is it there? What's it doing there? What's its reason for being there? Because by its presence, it is there. Here's another example sentence. Your presence is requested by the king, said the beautiful invitation card.
Wow, the king wants you to come to his party or something. Oh, I guess you should probably go.
So this is to retired soldiers.
Right, retired Portuguese soldiers had something to do with this chicken dish being in Macau. Well, if you're retired, basically you've stopped working. You're probably an older person, maybe in your 50s, 60s, 70s. You had a long career doing something and you decided, right, that's it. I'm getting old, I'm getting tired, I've got enough money saved up. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my life by playing golf, doing hobbies, working out, spending time with friends, but not going to work 9 to 5 every day because I am retired. You can be retired, or you can also refer to someone as a retired doctor or retired businessman, something like that. Basically saying this is the career that they had before, probably for most of their life, but now they are old enough they have decided to stop working. They're retired.
So these retired soldiers from Portugal, we see they picked up the dish during their time in Africa and served it in cafes.
Okay.
So yeah, Portugal had some territories in Africa as well. There's a country called Angola, which used to be part of Portugal. Soldiers would have spent time there. So they found out, hey, there's this cool dish, the things that people do here. A great chicken dish. They picked it up. When we talk about picking up here, we mean getting something or acquiring something, but in a fairly informal way. You're not being given it, you're not being taught it, you're just kind of learning about it in a sort of more natural fashion. So if I'm learning Chinese, that's one thing, but if I'm just hearing it on the street, then yeah, I'm kind of picking up this. You could pick up, you know, oh, I'm going to pick up some cooking hints just by watching a cooking show or seeing how other people cook. I'll pick up some local knowledge that way.
There you go. So these old soldiers who retired in Macau, they brought some of their favorite foods with them. And also as they were eating them, the local people tried them out and it seems it went well. It says locals fell in love with the African chicken upon trying it. So there you go. That's how an African chicken recipe became popular with Asian people living in Macau. I mean, in kind of the same way, the love of fried chicken in South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, a lot of that comes from American soldiers, right? From the South in America, fried chicken's popular, and they introduced it to some of the places their soldiers lived and worked.
Now, in that last sentence, we saw today's language in focus, so let's take a moment to look at it a little more closely. So our language in focus today looks at the pattern upon or on, followed by a VING verb, and then a further set of clauses. Upon or on doing something, tasting something, seeing something, and so on. And we use this pattern to say that when something happens, something else happens. This draws a direct line between cause and effect and shows that little or no time passes between one thing happening and the next thing happening. We can use as soon as in the same way. For example, upon getting home, Tony realized someone had broken into his house. With as soon as, we'd say as soon as he got home, Tony realized someone had broken into his house. It basically happened, the second thing happened straight away as soon as the first thing happened. So in our article, basically it means the local Macanese, they tried this chicken, they thought, this is great. As soon as I've tried it, I want to eat this again. I want to start making this. I want to show my friends and family this dish.
That's right. And then over time, it grew into the delicious dish that's served in Macau today. It grew or it changed or it evolved into their national dish. I guess the African chicken that the Portuguese soldiers were eating 300 years ago would probably be a little bit different to what we know today, and that's why we say it grew into. It's definitely fresher, but also maybe some local ingredients, local herbs and spices instead of some of the African flavors. So it's changed a little bit, but people absolutely still love it, so much so that they call it their national dish. But that's the interesting thing with food and food culture. As it travels around and as time passes, these dishes grow often into something kind of new. So when we say grow into, we're kind of like talking about how a person grows from being a baby into a child, into a young person, into an adult, into an old person. These things happen over time. There's changes going on because of all sorts of different things happening in your life and in nature and in the world around you. So when things grow into something else, we're talking about developing and changing over time.
So what is this national dish and what does it have in it now? We see it, meaning this African chicken dish, it includes potatoes, vegetables, peanut butter, and coconut milk.
Wow.
Okay, so let's start with peanut first. Peanut, now you might think of peanut as a nut. It's not technically a nut because it grows in the ground rather than on a bush. The technical word would be a legume, but you can just kind of think of it as a nut. It's basically the same. But yeah, it's a type of nut or legume or pea. Peanut butter is a paste. They take the peanuts, they grind them, they roast them, they turn them into this kind of orangey brown stuff, either smooth or with actual bits of peanut in, and you would usually spread them on bread, but yeah, you can use it to make into a sauce.
Sure.
Adds a bit of sugar and salt and a lot of flavor to it.
Or even put it on your hamburger.
Yeah, that's a good choice too. So you might say Zeke likes to snack on peanuts when he goes to the baseball game, or Pat likes to put peanut butter on bread and eat it as a sandwich.
At the baseball game.
Sometimes.
Okay, all right, peanuts are popular. So we read there that this dish included peanut butter as well as coconut or coconut milk. What is coconut? A coconut is the nut of the cocoa palm. Inside a coconut, which is usually brown, or actually it's green on the outside, then you rip off all that tough leaf, all the tough sort of vegetable product on the outside. You have this hard, hairy nut that's very hard, almost like wood. And if you cut that open, well, now you're getting to the good stuff. Inside the coconut, you'll find this edible white flesh or meat. This is the coconut that we think of when we sprinkle it on top of cakes or cupcakes or use it in baking, that type of coconut. And of course, there's also coconut milk inside, which is a liquid that you can drink that many people think has wonderful health benefits. So coconuts, I should say, are nature's little miracle, and we use them in all sorts of things, from making food to cooking with the coconut oil. You can also use that in a healthy way. And here's our example sentence. Do you like chocolate bars that contain coconut? Yeah, some people don't like coconut in their chocolate bars.
I do like coconut in my chocolate.
Right, but some people really don't.
No. I've even had chunks of kind of coconut flesh served like sushi with wasabi and soy sauce.
Wow.
It is surprisingly good. That was in Guam, and it was fresh. Coconuts had just fallen off the tree.
Interesting.
And the guy was like, cut them open, here's the milk, here's some flesh with some wasabi and soy sauce, tuck in. It was pretty good.
Interesting.
But let's move away from food for our next point. We see in the article it says, if chickens aren't your thing, perhaps you'd enjoy something more extreme. So the word extreme is an adjective, and we'd often use that to modify something to make it mean it's more than usual of that thing. It could be hot, so there's a lot of heat, but extreme heat is really, really hot. When we talk about an activity being extreme, we mean it's probably a little bit crazy. Most people will go, wait, that's either too dangerous, too silly, I'm really not sure if I want to do that. Cars drive fast, but the F1 race you saw, that would be extreme racing, really fast
those cars get up to extreme speeds.
Yes. Here's another example. The city of Winnipeg in Canada is famous for its extreme cold during winter. So it's not just a little bit chilly, it's absolutely freezing.
That's right. Minus 15, minus 20 is normal in most Canadian cities. Winnipeg, minus 35 or minus 40 would be kind of an average temperature in parts of January, February. Pretty extreme. That's why you probably don't want to go there in the winter. Stay in Macau, because not only would they have warmer weather, but they have a place you can jump off of and not die. It says at Sky Park Macau Tower, there is a bungee jump that's 233 meters high.
Yep.
Which is high. It's like half the height of Taipei 101.
Yeah, this is the thing I mentioned in yesterday's chat question that I wanted to do.
All right, what is to bungee jump? Well, Pat has a video, hopefully he will post to show us, but certainly you can find videos of this. You guys all know what this is. You find a really high place with a lot of space below you. You jump off that place, but to avoid dying, you attach a long, kind of a rubber band, like an elastic band to your legs generally, and then it kind of bounces you up and down, and then gently they will lower you to the ground. So you get the thrill and excitement of jumping off a place, but you avoid all the trouble of smashing into the ground and dying because of this rope made of elastic, and I think the rope's called a bungee.
A bungee cord,
right?
yeah.
We often use those elastic ropes you might wrap around your luggage if you're putting it on top of a car. Those are bungees too. So you get a bunch of those bungees, tie them all together, stick them to some crazy volunteer who will probably pay money for this pleasure, and they will jump off the building.
Yeah, I've done one in New Zealand off into a river, which they ditch you in the water.
Oh, so it was off a bridge, I guess.
Yeah, or a platform that went out. Yeah. But I would love to do the one in Macau because of its height, because that 230-something meters, that puts it in the Guinness World Records book for the highest commercial bungee jump from a building.
Really? I think they have these in Las Vegas too, higher than that.
Okay.
Do you remember the height of the one you jumped off of?
It was like 50 meters or something. It was nowhere near as big as this.
So this is a lot scarier.
Yeah. But I would still want to try it.
You want to try it? Okay.
Yeah, and
I'll be down there eating chicken.
You do that. There's lots of activities to do in Macau, or in fact anywhere, and let's talk about that in today's For You Chat question.
You chat.
The question is, what is your favorite activity to do when traveling? Talk about it.
Let's see, my favorite activity to do, I don't know. It would depend on the time of day. Some of the things I love to do are check out museums and local culture, and also eat in wonderful restaurants and try some local food. So I could probably fill a day up fairly well for at least a few days of my holiday by doing things like that. How about you?
My favorite activity is doing nothing.
Okay.
I often, when on vacation, I enjoy nothing more than going to a beach or next to a swimming pool and doing nothing. It's
sounds perfect.
Pleasurable. But eating, find some kind of street market where local people were eating and just kind of go in there, point and try and see where you end up. That's a pretty fun thing to do. But yeah, go and watch a local sport game or something.
That's good too,
I like doing that because it's like I'm doing what the local people do in their spare time for fun. Maybe I'll get chatting with some locals and learn something. They might tell me where the good food is or whatever.
Yeah.
That's definitely a fun thing to do. But we're out of time for today, so thanks for watching, everybody. For English For You, I'm Pat.
And I'm Mike.
And we'll talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.
Take care. Vocabulary Review.
Rooster. That chicken isn't a hen. It's a rooster. It can't lay eggs. Innocent. The innocent man was sent to prison for a crime he didn't do. Presents. Joseph feels nervous at social events, so he often brings his dog. The dog's presence helps him feel comfortable. Peanut. One of my favorite dishes is Thai noodles with chicken and peanuts. Coconut. Put a hole in the hard shell of a coconut and you can drink the sweet water inside. Extreme. We almost never get snow here. We only get a little bit in extreme cases.
智慧小补帖
Crow. Retired. Bungee jump.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net